Hello, welcome to another hour of Jihad Freedom or Jihad Truth Radio. I am your guest host, Issa Hodge, standing in for Kevin Barrett. This hour, we're going to be speaking with Mohammed al-Husseini. He was originally from the Gaza Strip. He was a member of the first Viva Palestina U.S. convoy to the Gaza Strip in July of 2009 and subsequently helped lead and coordinate the second trip to December 2009. Since then, he has toured the United States as a spokesman, talking about his war-torn country, Gaza. And we're also going to have another guest, Mohammed Sultan. He resides in Columbus, Ohio, and originates from Egypt. And he's the president of the Muslim Student Associations at OSU. He attended 2 Viva Palestinian convoys as well as the Syrian Relief Mission. Last hour, we talked to MD Alam, and we discussed AMPAC's Million Muslim March and the reasons why we're going there. I am not anti-Jewish, and Zionist is an organization. I want that clear, that the crime family, the Zionists, that are over there committing these UN violations on Geneva Convention are an organization and not the people. Who do we have on the line right now?
Mohammed's back on the line.
We were talking about the Million Muslim March that AMPAC is putting on for 9/11/13. I know you've heard about that, because ultimately the Million Muslim March is all about us as American citizens taking control of our government again and making our legislators work for the people. So why don't you tell me a little bit about your trip in 2009 to Gaza Strip?
You know, when this convoy came about, we felt like we could do something. We were able to help raise money to help get medical aid. And initially what we did is on the first convoy, we had to go through the Egyptians. And the Egyptians were very hostile to the convoy. They had us waiting for over 3-4 weeks in a hotel. They wouldn't let us leave. Anyone that would leave, they would keep an eye on us. We'd always have security watching us. Anywhere you go, anything that happens, everything is being monitored. And we felt like that always. And these guys are armed to the teeth. Yes, go ahead, East.
No, I was just going to say that now this is a Muslim country, supposedly, allegedly, doing this to Muslims who are trying to help other Muslims, correct?
Yeah, true. Okay. I mean, and obviously at the time, you know, under the regime of Hosni Mubarak, I wouldn't know. You know, you can say that, I mean, the people are obviously Muslim, whether the regime is following Islamic practices or is obviously another conversation.
Mohammed, are you there, Sultan?
Yes, alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Are you familiar with Article 2 of the UN Genocide Convention?
Yes, I am, yes.
Would you say that both Israel and Egypt are violating that?
Honestly, we spent a lot of time in Gaza. And I spent the past few months in Egypt with all the things going on there, and I was there for the Egyptian Revolution. And honestly, to just put everything into perspective, you know, I was sitting down with the chief of staff, President Morsi's chief of staff, and the Minister of Defense, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, in Egypt. And just to let you know, just to put things into perspective, obviously there's hundreds of thousands of UN violations towards Israel. The chaos in Egypt started 48 hours after this past assault on Gaza, after they reached a ceasefire agreement. Okay? And for the first time, Israeli officials have said that for the first time, Egypt is on the other side of the tables with the table on the Palestinian side. Okay, so 48 hours after they realized that Egypt now, under this new democratically elected government, will be behind, truly representing the people of Egypt, that they are full-heartedly with the Palestinian people and they are behind them. When they sat down on the opposite side with the Israel officials, Israel realized how big of a threat that will be. And if you look in the past, in the past regime, in Mubarak's regime, it wasn't representative of the people. The people in Egypt, the people in the Middle East in general, are very. They know they're very sympathetic. They say we're all Palestinians. We're all Palestinians.
You have a mentality that's on the government level that for whatever reasons has a foreign policy, the fact that it's actually in the American people that, that the majority of Americans think that that Israel is right and that Palestinians are wrong. But the thing that they have to understand is that our 200 plus years of, being a country is not all bunnies and flowers. Not one American sheds a tear. They look at them no different if they stepped on a bug.
Oh yeah, of course. And if you heard some of the blasphemous claims that were being made by some of the Israelis, and they were talking about the anxiety issues that they were having from the sounds of the bombs. And on the other side, on the Palestinian side, you have people who lost kids, people who lost their parents.
I think one of the notes that needs to be pointed out is obviously the Israel lobby and their control over the media is obviously widespread and very influential. Even, right-wing nutcase Pam Geller, she has these ads in the New York train system where it says, in the fight against the civilized versus the savage, we should support the civilized. And it goes on to say we should support Israel over the Palestinians. And this is the way that a lot of Americans, I think, see the Palestinians or Muslims or people in the Middle East. We don't love death for the sake of loving death. We've accepted that the Israelis have stripped us of all our material life. They've stripped us of hope, of everything, of food, water, clothes. The only thing left that we have to resist them with is our souls, is ourselves.
What I'm hoping the listeners are understanding here, that this is not an anti-Israel thing. This is America. You need to wake up.
The people in the Middle East have this Americaphobia.
There's even European countries that are hating us.
And it's not even really that the Muslims or the Arabs or the people in the Middle East hate Americans, but people are disgusted by the foreign policy of the United States, and it is very unfortunate. That the Israeli government, they were trying to pretty much have their foot on the neck of the Palestinians, pretty much just trying to keep the economy just enough alive to keep the Palestinians going. But it's pretty much like a slow death. They're allowing them to suffer, but they're just trying to keep them on life support just a little bit, enough to keep them alive. So. Yeah,
but I think that the reason why they're doing a slow death is actually quite ingenious, the way that they're doing it. I mean, simply because if they were to just completely which they have the capability, they have nuclear capability, they have, the military to just completely wipe every single Palestinian off and just have it just a flat land and nothing left. But, I would think that there's enough morality in the world that if something like that were to happen, that would instantly make Israel number one enemy to every country in the world, and that even our government, who was such good friends with them, would actually have to turn their back to them as well. But because they're doing it slowly, and of course because of the fact that, the media portrays their actions in Palestine when they shoot mortars or they fight back throwing rocks or sticks or whatever they can get a hold of as terrorist acts, then it helps to kind of feed and keep the genocide out of the mind of the average American.
Yeah, and I think the Israelis, they're realizing that the tide is turning.
We're ready to stand here. I'm ready to bleed all my blood, because they're selling the blood of the Gazan children for little, and we're ready to stand here to take our aid, to do whatever. They can come with 1 million people. We're ready to stand here and do whatever we have to do to get into Gaza.
6 members of the Viva convoy were taken into custody by police amid the clashes. Several policemen were also held by the volunteers.
The Egyptian government, not the Egyptian people, because the Egyptian government is not allowing us because they're a puppet for the American and the Israeli regime. We need to be there. We should have been on the border of Rafah and entering Gaza today to be with the people of Gaza, to tell them that we came halfway across the world to be with you on the anniversary of a Holocaust, of a second Holocaust. And that's what we try to do, but instead we're here in Aqaba standing in front of the consulate asking God that he open the borders for us and help us get through Gaza so we can be there with our brothers in solidarity with our brothers in Gaza.
هذا السفاح الذي قاد الحملة بعدها بأشهر، الحملة على جنين في 2003 راح إلى أمريكا وطلع في مكوك فضائي من وكالة ناسا. من وكالة ناسا انطلق المكوك بعد دقائق، وصل إلى أرض تكساس ولاية يعني أرض الرئيس بوش. ثم تحطم هذا المكوك مع أكبر 5 من الأمريكان علماء الفضاء، وهذا القائد للقوات الجوية الصهيوني كان معهم. تحطم ونزل أين؟ والله يا شيخ محمود ما كنت أعلم، أقمت في أمريكا ما كنت أعلم أن هناك مدينة في أمريكا اسمها فلسطين. ما وقع المكوك الفضائي يا شيخ مصطفى إلا في مدينة فلسطين، ولاية تكساس، ولاية الرئيس بوش.
سبحان الله.
الحجارة اللي بتمسكوها وتلقوا بها اليهود بتكره اليهود، بتكره الصهاينة، لأن الله تبارك وتعالى أنبأنا على لسان نبيه صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال: لن تقوم الساعة حتى يقتتل اليهودي والمسلم. الله. فيختبئ اليهودي وراء الحجر والشجر، يقول الحجر أو ينطق الحجر والشجر يقول: يا مسلم هذا يهودي ورائي، تعالى فاقتله إلا شجر الغرقد. إذا القنابل
يعني حتى الأحجار
هم عندهم
واعية
تتحول إلى،
هم عندهم يقين وبيزرعوه
يعني الحجارة نفسها على درجة من اليقين ومن الوعي تفرق بين المسلم واليهود.
صحيح.
وتنتصر للمسلم.
والله ستلقى أمريكا التي أمدت هذه المعارك دائما بكل ما تحتاج إليه، ستلقى مزيدا من الركود الاقتصادي والبوار والهلاك والجرائم ما يزيد على ما يجري في غزة. ستجد في يوم واحد من ولاياتها قتلى يزيدون عما قتل جميعا في محرقة غزة الآن، المحرقة الثالثة. ستجد هذا قريبا. بروتوكولات حكماء صهيون هي عبارة عن محاولة للتحكم وإفساد العالم كله لكي يزحف على بطنه وفرجه، ثم يتفرغون للسيطرة لإقامة مشروعهم والسيطرة على العالم.